Good morning, guys. Happy Wednesday. Hope you're all doing okay this morning. So it's lockdown storytelling time. And we're carrying on with the book I've been reading over the past couple of weeks, which is called Calm the F Down by Sarah Knight. Which, a lovely book. It says on the front, how to control what you can and accept what you can't, so you can stop freaking out and get on with your life. So as I've said before, it's a lovely little self-help book with some bits of humour thrown in there just to sort of try and lighten the topic of what we're talking about. So I'm going to carry on from where we left yesterday. So get yourselves comfy and I shall start. And where do you go from there? Apart from grief, which is nearly impossible to control with anything other than the march of time, what are the practicalities of dealing with death? Often, we inherit responsibilities such as organising a funeral, emptying a loved one's house, or executing a will. And morbid though these tasks are, in some ways they can also be helpful. In addressing them, you'll recognise elements of sleight of mind, such as refocusing your foggy brain on detail-oriented plans that will require all additions on deck, or occupying your ringing hands on mindless chores that allow you to zone out for a little while. At some point, you'll have been practicing calming the F down without realising it. And once you experience the benefit of that a few times, you may even get better at doing it on purpose. However, and as Kubler-Ross describes it, grieving is a non-linear process. You may feel better one day and far worse the next. I'm not saying it will be okay, but it will be. As the one left behind, you're in charge of what that means for you. And just remember, any time you need to let those emotional puppies run free, you've got the keys to the crate. There's no shame in using them. Over to you, Bob. Whoa, that was intense. But would you agree the catalogue of terror becomes a little less scary and a lot more manageable when you confront each entry rationally instead of emotionally, with a pragmatic outlook on outcomes? And that these techniques can actually be applied across a pretty wide range of what-ifs and worries. I hope so. Calm the F Down was always intended to offer you one set of tools for all kinds of problems. I mean, despite my relatively low impact tropical existence, it's not like I had the time or wherewithal to write a book that covers every possibility, iteration of all the shit that might and or probably will happen to every single reader and how to handle it. But you don't need that book anyway. What you need is a mental toolkit that you can apply to every possible iteration of all the shit that might and or probably will happen to you. That, I think I have provided. And in just a moment, it will be time to let you flex your brand new decision-making, problem-solving skills in a ski jump finish worthy of our old friend, Italian super hunk, Alberto Tomba. Before you turn the page though, I just want to say two more things. I have faith in you. Immediately following the next section, there's an epilogue on page 269. Don't forget to check it out for the final word on my own personal quest to calm the F down. It involves a feral cat, some coconut oil, and a shitstorm the probometer could never have predicted. And now onward to the next adventure. Choose your own adventure. When shit happens, how will you calm the F down and deal with it? Part 5 is going to be so much fun. In an effort to put everything I've taught you throughout Calm the F Down into practice in one zany interactive section, I'll present you with a totally plausible shitstorm, and you get to react to and solve it your own damn self. Ready? Good, because shit just happened. You're travelling far from home, far enough that you had to fly, and for a duration long enough that you couldn't fit everything into a carry-on and had to check some luggage. Also, you're travelling for an occasion that required you to pack a few specific, very important items in your luggage. Now that luggage is lost somewhere between your point of origin and your final destination. What was in your bag? Well, I want to make sure this whole choose your own adventure deal works for everyone. So let's say you're missing one or more of the following. An important article of clothing you're supposed to wear on this trip, such as your Spock ears for the Trekkie convention, a custom t-shirt for your BFF's birthday bonanza, a tuxedo for a work trip awards ceremony, or your lucky bowling shoes for the Northeastern Regional League Championships, your favourite pyjamas, a difficult to replace speciality item, all of your charging cords and cables, every single one, the framed photo of your cat that you always travel with. How do you react? Hey, don't look at me. I don't know your life, but for the sake of this complicated gimmick I'm about to embark on, let's say your first instinct is to freak out. Pick whichever one of the four faces seems most likely to descend upon you in this time of extreme duress and shittiness, and then follow it on an illuminating adventure into calming the F down and dealing with it. Or not, depending on which choices you make. Then, just to be thorough, pick another one and see it through. Actually, you know what? Read them all. What the hell else do you have to do? Ready, set, freak out. You picked anxious. For what it's worth, I'm totally with you on this one. Although I do not know your life, I know my life. And if I'd lost every stitch of beachwear I bought with me to Bermuda for spring break 2000, plus the copy of the Odyssey I was supposed to be studying for my World Lit final, plus the Advil bottle full of weed that I forgot I had in my toiletry kit, I would have been seriously anxious. My potential tan and GPA in jeopardy, and if they did locate my bag, the threat of a Bermudian SWAT team banging down my hotel room door, and me without my calming herbs. Yikes. Back to you. I totally understand why you're feeling anxious, but anxiety is not going to solve the mystery of the missing luggage, nor get your Spock ears and magic wand back in good working order. You need to calm the F down. You picked give anxiety the fingers. As you recall, this coping mechanism finds you doing something constructive with your hands to give your brain a rest, such as if you're standing at a baggage claim being hypnotized into a panic attack by the rotations of an empty luggage carousel, you need to snap out of it. Why not literally? Try snapping your fingers 100 times, and when you're done, it's time to walk away. Or head to the nearest airport shop and scope out their wares. If they sell stress balls, hurrah, you're in business. But if not, buy a container of dental floss. While in the taxi en route to your hotel, unspool the whole thing and then play that cat's cradle game until your fingers bleed, minty fresh. There, now you have something different to worry about. Finally, once you arrive at your hotel and it sinks in that your vibrator may never get out of Denver International, well, there are ways to lull yourself to sleep that don't require batteries. Phew, feeling a little calmer, all things considered? Good, good. Would you like to give that second coping mechanism a whirl as well, or just go straight to dealing with it? You elected to get down with other people's problems. You're having a hard day. One way to distract from or make yourself feel better about your own problems is to focus on someone else's. Like the lady with the screaming toddler who was sitting a few rows ahead of you, I bet she wishes that human vuvuzela, I don't know what that is, was hanging out in Denver International Lost and Found right now. Then there's the flight crew who have the privilege of capping off an 8-hour shift by probing the crevices between every cushion on this 200-seat airplane, looking for crumbs, loose pretzels, and lost pacifiers. Bonus: if you're getting a taxi to the Trekfest Convention Hotel, this is the one and only time you may want to engage the driver in conversation by asking, "Hey, what's the worst thing that happened to you this week? Tell me all about it." In my experience with cabbies, your current predicament is likely to seem mild in comparison to the tales of greedy landlords, student loan debt, stabby ex-wives, and that Eric Trump got a BJ in my back seat. Feeling a little better? Oh, come on, admit it. You temporarily forgot about your lost luggage as you pictured that poor cab driver catching sight of Eric O's face in the rearview mirror. That was all you needed, distraction with a side of Schadenfreude. But if you go back and try giving anxiety the finger, feel free. Uh-oh, you decided to panic. You're hyperventilating so hard you can barely explain to the desk agent why it is terribly urgent that Delta retrieves your suitcase as soon as possible, because you will never be able to get a new pair of custom-fit Spock ears delivered in time for tomorrow's Battle of the Bands, the search for rock. Friend, you are boldly going nowhere with this shit. Or as Spock himself might put it, your illogic and foolish emotions are a constant irritant. Are you absolutely sure you don't want to see what's happening over on the flip side? Dealing with it after you've calmed down. From anxiety. My, how well you're holding up in this time of crisis. You're a beacon of hope and light to us all. You recognised the creeping freak-out face and you resisted. You returned your heart rate to normal and staved off a full-blown panic attack. So now you can focus on solving, or at least mitigating, your problem in time to enjoy the rest of your trip. You've been looking forward to Trekfest for an entire year. Now's the time to be enterprising in your efforts to deal with this shit. Take stock. You already know what you're missing. Now think about where you are and how easy or difficult it might be to shop for an order replacement gear in whatever time you have to get that done. Ruminate too on your other resources. How much energy do you really want to expend running around an unfamiliar city all night when it's possible your bags will arrive on the early flight into Kansas City tomorrow? And how likely are you to find Spock ears on short notice? Furthermore, if you already tested the limits of your Amex card on the Fest tickets, you may not have a lot of spare cash or credit to replace all your AWOL electronics in one go. Survey the damage, assess the recovery potential, and then make some game time decisions. You've got this. Dealing with it after you've calmed the F down from sadness. My, how well you're holding up in this time of crisis. You're a beacon of hope and light to us all. You recognised the creeping freak-out face and you resisted. You dried your tears, practiced some emergency self-care, and now you can focus on dealing with this shit and solving, or at least mitigating, your problem in time to enjoy the rest of your trip. Take stock. You already know what you're missing. Now think about where you are and how easy or difficult it might be to shop for or order replacement gear in whatever time you have to get that done. Evaluate your gumption levels and your cash reserves. If you already tested the limits of your Amex card on the plane tickets, you may not have a lot of spare cash or credit to replace all your AWOL electronics. Survey the damage, assess the recovery potential, and then make some game time decisions. You've got this. Dealing with it after you've calmed the F down from anger. My, how well you're holding up in this time of crisis. You channeled your energy into more fruitful, peaceful pursuits, and Mexican airport syndrome failed to claim another inmate. Now you can focus on dealing with this shit and solving, or at least mitigating your problem in time to enjoy the rest of your trip. Though I suppose enjoy might be a strong word for it. This is a work conference, and the best part about it is going to be the unlimited shrimp cocktail at the awards ceremony. Dealing with it after you've calmed the F down from ostrich mode. My wow, how you're holding up in this time of crisis. You cast off your cloak of avoidance and actually managed to make some headway. Perhaps all is not lost, where all equals your luggage. Now you can focus on dealing with this shit and solving, or at least mitigating, your problem in time to kick the crap out of Reverend Paul from Pittsburgh and his team, the Holy Rollers. Dealing with it when you were freaking the F out with anxiety. This is so much harder than it had to be. Not only have you started to panic, your brain is now cycling through worst case scenarios, like that girl next to you at Flywheel last Sunday, who was obviously working out her dating life aggression on the bike. You're not just overwhelmed, you're overthinking. And this nemesis will cling on to you for the duration of your trip. Look, I know that was a groggerous pun, but you have brought it on yourself. Oh shit, you can't think clearly about any of this, can you? In fact, you've added a few new line items to the captain's log since you first discovered your bags wouldn't be joining you in Kansas City for Trekfest. For one, you posted your woes to the whole Slack group, and now Corey from Indianapolis is gunning for your spot as MC of tomorrow's festivities. And two, you ran down the battery of your phone in doing so. So your lack of charging cords is now just as critical as your lack of silicone ear tips. What's your realistic ideal outcome? Before you freaked out, it would have been to call the only friend you have who has the right size ears and isn't at this convention using them himself, and beg him to get up and go to the nearest FedEx location to overnight them to you. But now that you've wasted a bunch of time freak out funds, Gordon is fast asleep, and realistically, the best you can hope for is to buy a new cord, charge your phone overnight, and manage the fallout on Slack tomorrow while you prowl KC for silly putty and super glue. Dealing with it when you are freaking the F out with sadness. This is so much harder than it had to be. Not only did you wear yourself out with all that crying, your makeup is a shambles and you're without your toiletry kit. Even if you felt like going out tonight, you look like Robert Smith after a tennis match in hot weather. And of course, that's cause for further wallowing. Why does this shit always happen to you? How come Brenda and Tracy never lose their luggage? To top it all off, your phone battery died while you were posting a flurry of vague, sad memes intended to generate concern from your Facebook friends. And now you can't even see who commented. God, this is so depressing. Take stock. You'll never be able to replace the amazing birthday gift you had lined up for Rashida on such short notice. At this point, all you want to do is lie down on the bed and sleep the ruined weekend away. Except, oh no, you've just remembered you're in South Beach and your favourite jammies are lost somewhere over the Bermuda Triangle. What's your realistic ideal outcome? Before you freaked out, it would have been to get your suitcase back at all costs, or at least squeeze Southwest for a free ticket. And barring that, get shopping. But now you've wasted so many freak out funds, sniffing, moaning, and vague booking. The best you can hope for is to call in depressed to welcome drinks and hope one of the girls can lend you an outfit for tomorrow. If you even feel like getting out of bed tomorrow, that is. Dealing with it when you are freaking the F out with anger. God damn it. It turns out that asinine comments and rude gestures never win friends nor influence people at airport security. Thankfully, you didn't get arrested, but your blood pressure is soaring, your mind is racing, and you're this close to making a lifelong enemy of the United Customer Service Helpline. Also, you rage at a Big Mac and get yellow mustard all over the only shirt you currently possess. Smooth move. Take stock. This whole situation got a lot more complicated when you decided to give in to your anger. Now you've got time-sensitive shit to deal with. You have to do damage control on that YouTube video. Add another dress shirt to your shopping list, and you can barely see straight. You're so agitated. You may also want to think about how you're going to explain the video to Helen from HR when you see her at the awards banquet. It has 300,000 views and counting. What's your realistic ideal outcome? Before you wasted all that time, energy, money, and goodwill tarnishing both your shirt and your reputation, your realistic ideal outcome would have been to get to the hotel, plug in at the business centre, put out a few feelers on that stuff you need to replace, and wind down with some Will Ferrell on pay-per-view. However, realistically, the best you can hope for now is not to get fired for conduct, unbecoming a regional sales manager, and, if you're even still invited to the banquet, scoring a rental tux that doesn't smell like cheese. Dealing with it when you are freaking the F out via avoidance. I'm afraid that the end result of succumbing to ostrich mode is that you never, ever deal with it. Sorry, game over. Better luck next time. However, if you decide to change your mind and take my advice to calm the F down before you try to deal with shit in the future, I recommend turning to page 262 or 264. I also recommend reading this book over again, cover to cover, because, and I say this with love, I don't think you were paying attention the first time through. Trekfest. RIO number 1. Assuming your bags won't show up of their own volition, you want to make as many inquiries as you can, then get a good night's sleep and muster the will to carry on in the morning. Triage and tackle. The most urgent element is to get through to a human being at the airline. Ideally, one in each of your departure and arrival cities, to lodge your complaint and ask if there are any other human beings who might be able to track down your bags and find a way to get them to you. It will be much better to be reunited with your custom Spock ears than have to canvass Kansas City for a new pair. If your phone battery is low, buy a new phone charger up in the queue. If you're still at the airport, this should be easy. If you didn't manage to calm down until you were already out of there, that's okay. Just ask your taxi driver to reroute to the nearest Target or comparable store and pay them to wait 15 minutes while you perform a one-person version of the supermarket sweep, grabbing the bare essentials off the shelves. If you're driving a rental car or got picked up by a friend, this step is even easier. You'll have a bit more time and may be able to replace a few other lost items there too, as much as your energy and money freak-out funds allow. Plus, your hotel probably has complimentary toiletries for now. Get the stuff that's only available in store. And if the only nearby shop is a gas station, 7-Eleven, give it a shot. The teenage cashier is almost certainly charging their phone behind the counter and might be willing to sell you their cord at a markup. And there you have it. Shit happened, but you calmed down, took stock of the situation, determined your realistic ideal outcome, and triaged the elements. And in doing so, set yourself up for the best case scenario in this worst case suitcase debacle. Winner, winner, Kansas City barbecue dinner. Rashida's birthday bash. RIO number 1. Assuming your bags won't show up of their own volition, you want to make as many inquiries as you can, then get a good night's sleep and muster the will to carry on tomorrow. I've just realised this bit I'm reading is exactly the same as what I've just read before, but we'll go through it because it's a little bit different. Triage and tackle. The most urgent element is to get through to a human being at the airline, ideally one in each of your departure and arrival cities, to lodge your complaint and ask if there are any other human beings who might be able to track down your bags and find a way to get them to you. Life will be a lot easier if Rashida never has to know how close you came to ruining her birthday photo op. If your phone battery is low, buy a new phone charger up in the queue. If you're still at the airport, this should be easy. If you didn't manage to calm the F down until you were out of there, that's okay. Just ask your taxi driver to reroute to the nearest Target or comparable store and pay them to wait 15 minutes while you perform a one-person version of supermarket sweep, grabbing the bare essentials. If you're driving a rental car and got picked up by a friend, this step is even easier. You'll have a bit more time and may be able to replace a few other lost items there too, as much as your energy and money freak out funds allow. And if the only nearby shop is a gas station, 7-Eleven, give it a shot. The teenage cashier is almost certainly charging their phone behind the counter and might be willing to sell you their corded markup. And there you have it. Shit happened, but you calmed down, took stock of the situation, determined your realistic ideal outcome, and triaged the elements, and in doing so, set yourself up for the best case scenario in this worst case suitcase debacle. Winner, winner, Cuba Libras with dinner. Right, I think I'll stop there today because I'm just at the end of a chapter, and yeah, we can carry on tomorrow. We've not got much left. I think we might even finish this within, look, we've only got that bit left now. I might get this finished in the next couple of days and find something else for us to read. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed that this morning. I'm going to be back online in just a short while with a little bit of tea and toast with Luke for a little chat. So come along and join us for that if you can. If you can't, have a great day and I'll see you all tomorrow. See you later, guys.